talk Tobago.
So we are back for yet another edition of the show that highlights all things Tobago. Let's talk Tobago. I'm Davia Chambers, and this week we're at a brand new spot in Belmar Trace Extension, Buku, KDK Villa. So I'm going to take you inside with me while we share with you our stories for this week as usual. Come along with me. So what do we have to share with you this week? Well, we'll tell you about the Division of Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development's Street Lighting Program. We'll also share with you highlights from Community Development's World of Work program, and competitors from the Chief Secretary's T10 Blast competition receive their prizes. All these stories and more when Let's Talk Tobago returns. Stay with us.
Yo, what's up? This is yours truly Positive, and you're locked on to Let's Talk Tobago. Easy, bless.
Do you see the beautiful lights in this villa? Can you imagine what it would have been like if there were no lights? So electricity plays an important part in modern life, and street lights are important for safety and security. So through this program that you're going to learn about in our first story, communities in Tobago are being lit. Take a look.
No lights? No problem, because there's a program which falls under the Division of Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development called the Street Lighting and Rural Electrification Program, which aids in providing lighting to low-income households and communities. The latest community, Canaan Feeder Road Extension. The installation of 14 street lights was carried out in partnership with the Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission.
We are embarking on an aggressive rural electrification and streetlight installation program. Today we are in Canaan Feeder Road, where we are installing 11 streetlights. These streetlights would bring much needed relief to the residents of this area, and after a while of being in darkness, I can safely say that you can get to their homes with some light.
But the street light will be good for us, because in the night, when they go out there to come in back, they have dark and they cut down the trees, and there was so much tree that you could not see and nobody.
The installation of the lights cost approximately $161,309. For more information, feel free to contact the division at 612-4213.
I know it sounds basic, but learning is fun. I certainly enjoy when I'm learning new things. And as you'll see in this story from Crystal George, the students who participated in Community Development's World of Work program also enjoyed learning new skills. Have a look.
How cool it is to be able to get a taste of what the working world feels like, especially in an area that your heart desires. Well, for these youngsters, they got an opportunity to do just that through the Division of Community Development, Youth Development and Sport World of Work program, which enabled them with various tools to help them to navigate their environment. At the end of the program, these participants received their certificates of participation.
The 2-week session covered training in areas such as resume writing and interview skills, public speaking and communication skills, dress code, social media management, personal and professional branding, customer service, networking and employer-employee engagement, conflict resolution and managing conflict, time management and leadership, office and dining etiquette, financial management and investment, career planning, and youth development and youth service. We would have also incorporated a new initiative we started just about 3 years ago, recognizing the need for our young persons to be exposed to a greater level of understanding and knowing about Tobago.
Participants share their experience and are also lending some encouragement to their peers.
And my experience at the World of Work program was definitely wonderful. It just changed me so much. It made me ready to accomplish my goals.
Experience in the World of Work program was amazing. I mean, I was placed in Tobago Updates, a place where a media place that I wanted to actually be a part part of. I actually want to take my career into media, so that was really great that I had an experience like that. Everything was well planned out here at the Tobago program. The free food is amazing. I definitely recommend you guys to come out next year and apply.
I was placed at Tobago Updates. Now the experience was very, very nice. I really liked everything they taught me. It wasn't really anything I expected, to be very honest. I had no idea about what went on in the media world and all this kind of stuff, but I learned fast and I did well in working there.
From the inception of the program in 2009, the division's mandate is to create opportunities for our young persons to thrive in today's society. I'm Crystal George for Let's Talk Tobago.
So in this story, you learn about the Office of the Chief Secretary's Summer Internship Program. And this production you're about to view was done by all three interns, Maya Alfred, Kianda Orr, and Dijano Granderson. Take a look, and we really hope you enjoy.
The OCS Summer Internship Program gave us the opportunity to have our first official job experience.
My responsibilities would vary from the assignments that were assigned to us. However, my main responsibility currently is to contact suppliers who would have registered with procurement and tell them about the new system with the OPR where they are to register online.
My biggest responsibility is to learn and observe, and just complete tasks that I'm given. So for the 2 months since I've been here, I have been a part of various projects. The biggest one was the business registrar, where we go around the island basically and we register the businesses of the island basically.
Prior to being granted our own responsibilities at the office, we the interns got the opportunity to learn new skills and enhance our knowledge in different areas of our studies.
I learned what business could be about, because most of the time what I learn in school is sciences. So I never did a business subject or anything like that, so I wasn't aware of what procurement or anything was like that. So when I came to the office and I got into what procurement really meant, I learned a lot of what happens in procuring goods and items for the entire OCS and the THM.
I got a lot of insight about what it means to do economics on a public sector level. I worked alongside people who actually study what I study, and that's probably the most important thing for me, learning from them. I learned from, he wasn't here, but I was informed a lot about Mr. Perry, who is the head statistician at the department.
We had 2 outings. We went to change all the names on the PCs in the department to make it easier to notify them, or if they have a problem on the network, we could understand who it is and where to go. I learned about the different roles in my degree. A lot of jobs I didn't know I could have done, I could do now, so it helped me, navigate a little better career-wise.
My experience when meeting the Chief Secretary, it was pretty insightful. I major in linguistics and education, and he is a fellow linguist himself. So us sharing that commonality was very intriguing and interesting to hear his thoughts as well as his experience in becoming a linguist. He was very intelligent in his delivery, and he was also pretty interested in getting to know the interns on a more personal level.
We thank all the members and staff of the Office of the Chief Secretary and by extension the Tobago House of Assembly for sharing this wonderful experience with us. Team OCS, one family, one love. I am Kianda Orr, OCS Summer Intern for Let's Talk Tobago.
So we have to take a break right now, but we'll be back with more stories. Stay with us. Let's Talk Tobago. We'll be right back. KDK Villa offers accommodation with a private pool, a terrace, and pool views. The air-conditioned accommodation is near Tobago Beach, and guests benefit from complimentary Wi-Fi and private parking available on site. This villa is fitted with 3 bedrooms, a kitchen minibar, a flat-screen TV, a seating area, and 3 bathrooms. The teams that participated in the Chief Secretary's annual T10 Blast competition received their prizes for their very hard work. Crystal George has more in this story.
After a week of cricket excitement at the Sid Gray Complex for the annual Chief Secretary's T10 Blast tournament held back in April, players were finally rewarded for their hard work. The host himself was on hand to distribute the winnings to the various teams.
Thanks to you all for participating. We had a healthy competition, a good tournament that produced some talents and that showed that we have some significant talents on the island, and we are happy that you all participated. So we wish that you take to the rest of your players our commendation, both from the Tobago House of Assembly and also from the Tobago Cricket Association.
I'm Crystal George for Let's Talk Tobago.
If you're feeling down, this story will definitely cheer you up. We'll tell you now about the Inter-American Development Bank's Cheer Fair, which was hosted in partnership with the Tobago House of Assembly at the Scarborough Esplanade.
Fair is a community event. It is actually an IDB event that they are partnering with the Tobago House of Assembly to really showcase the public and private sector offerings. There were 8 thematic areas: digital transformation, health, housing, climate change. All of these areas, we just aligned them to our divisions and asked to come and showcase some of the things that they're doing in their divisions based on these thematic areas.
A Cheer Fair is about happiness. It's about fun. In fact, the theme of Cheer Fair is fun can make a difference. The aim of it is for the IDB and our partners to come to the community and speak to citizens about the work that we do, the areas in which we work, and really have engaging interactions with them so they understand the development work that we have been doing in Trinidad and Tobago. So we have supported the construction and rehabilitation of wastewater treatment plants. We have worked with blue economy entrepreneurs. We are working with TEMA to support them in the establishment of an emergency response center. We are providing capacity building and training to various divisions of the THA. And so we have a very active engagement in Tobago. We really try to make sure that Tobago is well represented in the portfolio.
The booths are very, very informative. For example, we have somebody making oils and soaps locally. A lot of this stuff are local stuff. There's the Tadco booth that have a lot of local, dasheen flour, which is really, really good.
We are one of the recipients of the Blue Economy project that IDB had last year. So we were one of the entrepreneurs who won, was about 7 of us. So my project was using seaweed, that seaweed that everybody think is so nuisance on the beach, and converting it into usable products. So I decided it's good for your hair. So I started making shampoos and conditioners from seaweed, right? Combining it with hibiscus because they complement each other.
I think it's a fantastic idea. I think it's long overdue, and something like this should continue, probably yearly or biannually or something, but we should have more of this kind of thing to expose, especially the younger people, something like this.
I think it's a great opportunity for all these small businesses, because a lot of people have businesses and we can make connections, we can help each other out, buy from each other, and get to showcase all the many talents that we have here in Tobago.
And that's a wrap for this edition of Let's Talk Tobago at KDK Villa. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember to follow us on all of our social media handles. I'm Davia Chambers. On behalf of all of us at the Department of Information, do have a safe and fantastic week. We'll see you again next week from a different place, but same time.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome to Youth Wednesdays and Tobago Updates morning show. This is Tobago Updates Television. Welcome back. It's been a while. I miss you guys. I hope that you guys are doing well and miss me just as equally as I miss you. I hope you guys are doing well this morning. So good morning to all our viewers on the varying platforms on which you are viewing us. Facebook, YouTube, and Amplia TV. This morning I am joined with
Kaylee Lewis. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning to all of our viewers. And yes, good morning to you, Dwayne. You know, it's the middle of the week. It's Wednesday morning. And, you know, we always here to give you that dose of youthful vigor in the middle of the week. My name is Kaylee Lewis, and I am also joined by...
I am Natalia Nancis. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Kaylee. Good morning, Dwayne. It's nice to be here with you guys this morning.
Oh yeah. And I must say, welcome to the team. A great addition to the team. I know Natalia for 10 years now, so I know that she would bring, you know, a lot of vibes and a lot of niceness to the set, you know. So I'm joined with two beautiful young ladies, you know, intelligent, you know. So it's an honor. It is an honor.
Most definitely.
So how have you guys been in my absence?
I have been amazing, but how have you been doing?
I mean,
because we have been experiencing some heat, but I understand that you had a bit of coldness where you were. How was that experience?
It was a bit cold for the first week, and then the latter week it was very hot.
Okay.
So I guess the heat is all over the place. But yeah, when I got back, I was like, nope, I need to drink some more water. I need to bathe some more. You know, like 4 times a day, you know.
need to buy like 3 more AC because one AC is definitely not doing it in this heat.
But did you guys see the headlines that AC companies are there's an uptick in sales? Yeah, so it's because of the heat. So guys, make sure you drink enough water. If you need to invest in an AC unit, make
Please
sure it's
do so.
environmentally friendly and so on. But
who cannot afford an AC unit, you could probably buy a fan, an extra one.
now the fan pushing hot breeze.
The fan pushing real hot breeze.
Hot
fine.
breeze, yeah.
Extremely hot breeze.
I find when you drink water,
also.
no, but I find when you drink water in front of the fan, it'll be okay. Yeah. For those
I think
of us
she
who
lives in a
cannot-
cool area because who won't mind me? The breeze is extremely hot. Even sometimes in the night time, it's like the sun is out at night as well. It's crazy.
Right. So enough of the heat. We're gonna go over to more heat with news in 90 seconds with Natalia Nancis.
The news in 90 seconds is brought to you by Flow, working for you on Tobago's newest fiber network.
Thank you, Dwayne. I am Natalia Nancis, and here is your news in 90 seconds for Wednesday, 20th September 2023. Work Minister to meet Tobago Chamber. Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce President Curtis Williams and other stakeholders confirmed a meeting with Minister of Works and Transport Rohan Sinanan, which is set to address inter-island seabridge concerns. The meeting is scheduled for 2 p.m. on Friday, September 22nd at the Chamber's headquarters in Scarborough. Williams expressed anticipation for productive discussion following an urgent request for this meeting last week. The meeting is important in light of recent incident involving the cargo ferry MV Cabo Star, which was out of commission due to an onboard fire, significantly impacting Tobago's business community. Address WASA and Tiantec in the budget. Princestown MP Barry Padarath is urging Finance Minister Colm Imbert to address the government's outstanding debts to Tiantec and WASA during the October 2nd budget presentation. In a press release, Padarath emphasized the importance of settling these million-dollar arrears to ensure the survival of WASA and Tiantec, firmly opposing any attempts to burden consumers with these debts. Padarath calls on the Finance Minister to present a clear plan for addressing the state's debts to these critical institutions, emphasizing their role in their current dire situation. Padarath stresses that the budget presentation provides an ideal opportunity for the government to reveal its payment plan. President of the Industrial Court, Deborah Thomas Felix, stressed the importance of employers implementing safety measures to protect workers from heat-related illnesses and climate-related dangers. In her address at the opening of the 2023-2024 Industrial Court term, Thomas Felix highlighted the impact of climate change on labor relations, citing the adverse effects on productivity, especially in the current hot climate of Trinidad and Tobago. She advocates for workers in hot environments, citing the International Labour Organization's findings that excessive heat during work poses occupational health risks, limits physical abilities, and diminishes work capacity and productivity. That concludes our news in 90 seconds. Back to you, Kaylee.
Tobago, after freeness is more speed and better TV. Get a free Samsung smartphone and free installation, plus 200 megabits per second, Paramount Plus, and more for only $299 with a select 200 plan from Flow. Visit online at discoverflow.co today.
Okay, viewers, and we are back. Thank you so much, Natalia, for that wonderful read of the news. Yeah, so right now we're going to head straight into birthdays, and birthdays are sponsored by KFC.
This is your birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
So first on our list, we have Mrs. Tracy Davidson Celestine. We want to wish you a very happy birthday coming out from us here at Tobago Updates.
And next we have the Senator Nigel De Freitas. A happy birthday goes out to you.
Last but not least, we have Janelle Sims. Happy birthday to you from our Tobago Updates team. We do hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.
Birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger.
The only one I see is you.
Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
Okay, and we're back. So, we have to give you all the rundown. Do you want to give them the rundown this morning?
I think you should do us the honors. Given that I just came back.
Oh, well, okay, I guess I'll fly this morning. But next week for certain, Dwayne is going to give us the rundown, viewers. So first up, we're going to be speaking with Miss Shabike. She is the CEO of Possibilities, and she's going to give us some tips and tricks to deal with, that little moment that we all encounter at one point in time in life. After her, we're going to have Miss Jael Alexander. She is an entrepreneurial educator, and we're going to have Miss Natalia Nancis doing that interview. And to close us off, we're going to have Mr. Dwayne Nurse interviewing Avian Gordon. She is from Frolic Carnival, and she's going to be talking to us about nature's luxury. So, viewers, we have a very packed, interesting show for you this morning. So remember to stay tuned and share the live, share the live, share the live. We're going to head over to Tobago in Focus.
The Unemployment Relief Program is not the same one you knew many years ago. Program Coordinator Mr. Nairon Leung gives us insight into the diversification as well as different sectors that exist within the unit.
Well, the URP program, it's a fairly huge, one of the more, I would say, larger units within the THA, right? It is constructed of 6 units, and it falls directly under the Division of Infrastructure, Quarries, and Urban Development, right? The units that makes up the URP are the construction unit, the environmental unit, the Women for Women program, which they would provide janitorial support to over 35 schools in Tobago and other THA offices, right?
He stated, unbeknownst to many, the revenue-generating sectors of URP would have generated over $200,000 in the last World Food Day. These funds were generated over a record-breaking 2 days. Despite naysayers and negative commentary as it relates to URP, Mr. Leung has a vision and several projects to embark on.
The vision 2023 and going forward, right? Under the construction sector, the construction section within the URP, right? We are presently partnering with the Buku Moravian Church, right? They have meted out to the division for assistance in constructing a home for a physically incapacitated couple, right? Both cannot work and they are members of the church, and they have formed themselves into a organization whereby they would seek to bring some kind of relief to this couple, right?
The project, marked as their flagship project, is being met with passion and dedication. Materials will be provided while URP workers will provide the labor. The unit is also embarking on a latrine eradication program along the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. Leung emphasizes one of the reasons for the URP program is to assist the most vulnerable, socially and economically challenged individuals within the community, and their plan is to make the unit financially sustainable.
morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates Youth Morning Show. This morning, we have with us Miss Sabike Vivas. And, she's here to advertise her business possibilities. But I think what's very interesting is that Sabike would have made a business venture, she would have birthed a business venture out of something that we all go through at one point in time in life. So, Sabike, good morning and welcome to Tobago Updates Youth Morning Show.
Good morning, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, wonderful. So, let's get started. Let's hear about possibilities.
All right, so first of all, good morning, viewers. And it's interesting that, through your pain, you can actually gain. And I went through a terrible emotional breakup at the beginning of this year, and it was like literally detrimental. And I'm like, hey, God has worked with me throughout. And sometime in May, I realized, this name Possibilities came. Always wanted to do a brand, start a brand. But when this came, I'm like, this is pretty interesting. I can start a brand that will inspire individuals, even though they go through heartbreaks, they go through emotional turmoils in life, that, hey, there's a God of possibilities. And hence, that is like the genesis of the inspiration.
Wow. I think that is very, very interesting. Because, a lot of people, when you go through a heartbreak, you turn to rom-coms, R&B, some kind of thing to help to soothe the pain. You sit down watching a movie, eating some ice cream, that kind of thing. But the fact that you were able to use a heartbreak and make a business venture out of it, I think that is very, very commendable.
Thank you.
So, you said the name Possibilities because God, He's a God of all possibilities, right?
Correct.
Aside from that, you have the T there with the, so let's talk to the viewers a little bit, about that.
The logo, inspiration. All right. So first of all, obviously for a business, you have to get your brand. And I wanted to come up with something that is unique. And I went to my class. I'm a teacher at Harmon School. So I went to my class and I spoke to them about it. And I remembered I wanted it to be like Possibilities with Christ or Possibilities with God. And my students were like, Miss, no, you have to drop the with God. Just leave possibilities. And being a Bible teacher, I'm like, drop with God. And they're like, yeah, Miss, we can still be inspired by it. And so one of the things, one of the students, I will never forget her, I can mention her name, Mel said to me, Miss, why just use symbols to represent God? And when I thought about it, it made perfect sense. And so I know I wanted the heart to mean God is love, T to represent Jesus Christ dying on the cross, and the dove to represent the Holy Spirit. And that is exactly what came about. But in terms of the layout, I'm not a graphic designer. And I contacted my brother-in-law, who's a par excellence graphic designer. And I was like, hey, this is my concept. Please, can you work in it? And he sent back this. Come on, I was blown away. And so, yes, that's how it started.
Okay, so on the first Sunday, the 1st of October, you're going to be having Possibilities Business Certification Online Workshop. Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, good. So for those of you who know me, I'm extremely business oriented. I love business. And one of the things I realized that, when we look at the main mission of Possibilities, turning your pain into gain, I realized that there's so many persons out there because of my principles of business. I do online POB classes for CSEC also. And I know that there's so many persons who would want to learn how to establish a business, who would want to know how to complete business plans and everything if they want to go and access a loan from the bank, but they don't know how to do it. And hence I thought it best like, hey, why not through this particular venture that we come up with this online certification program just as a way of giving back, because it's not expensive. It's just $120 TT if you register before the 25th. And after the fact, it's 200 TT. But among the wealth of knowledge you will receive after then, it will help you. Because to pay somebody to do a business plan, you might just have to pay about $3,000, $4,000. So, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And aside from the business certification, what are some of the other things that you offer at Possibilities?
All right, so right now there are different components attached to the business. I'm still in the framework and trying to put a direct structure to the organization. The other thing I have like several things I'm selling, like their jerseys. I have one on right now with my Possibilities. They're different colors for those desirous of whether it be red or purple or teal, you name it. They're different colors. I actually sent in an order. So those who, if you're looking online and you want a jersey, you can get my number and you can get one. I also have key rings and water bottles and openers and pens. The reason behind persons having a tangible item in their hands is that, hey, they should, every single time they look at it, for example, you may be going through something. And when you look at it, you're like, let me remember this girl's story, possibility. And so it should be an inspiration to keep going, never to settle, never to stop, knowing that God is a God of possibilities.
Okay.
The other component I want to highlight is the therapeutic aspect to it. Sooner or later, because I mean, right now I'm on the verge of going around to churches or even small groups or speaking to individuals who may be going through the same problem. And sometimes it's like, it's easy for a counselor to come and counsel you about something, but if they haven't been through it, sometimes they would not be able to touch, oh, just leave and go. But with this now, it's like I've been through it, and I can tell you from my personal experience, I'm not ashamed of sharing it. And if God did it for me, He can do it for you. And so we're hoping that in the future, we will add a therapeutic aspect of it. Bring in, of course, we have to get therapists and psychologists on board to help individuals. Because trust me, depression is real.
Yes, most definitely. And I think that's something that, persons ignore some of the times after a breakup.
Exactly.
You just push it aside. Or, I mean, even the persons around you, persons within your environment, they forget that depression is real.
Yep.
Exactly. And I mean, aside from the therapeutic part of it and the T-shirts and that kind of thing, and the business workshop, let's focus a little bit more on that. So tell the viewers, a little bit more like time and location and that kind of thing.
Okay, so first of all, it's an online certification program. One of the things I wanted to focus on, because I mean, we're busy, and Sundays are busy day. I was trying to select a day during the week, but it was like totally impossible. And right, so the workshop will be Sunday, Saturday from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. I mean, it's a long time. But when we look at the actual presentations in terms of how to do financial documents and when we look at all the different aspects of the business plan, doing the description and all of that, it will take some time. So one of the things I want to do is to ensure that we have like the theoretical aspect out of it. And so at least by 1 o'clock or so, persons can have they can be able to sit and actually create their business plan. Because you know how online platforms go. By the time we close off, it's like you forget that you just paid for something.
Exactly.
And so we wanted to provide that avenue where people can have the opportunity to even present what they would have written. It may not be the entire thing. So when you leave there on the 1st of October, at the end of the day, you must be able to be so equipped that, hey, I can do this. I can establish my own little thing. And there's one thing I want to touch because, many times we feel as if we have to get tons of monies to establish a business. And when I look at my journey with businesses, is that, hey, you don't have to get much all the time. And so all of those myths, I really want to dispel at that program, whereby to teach individuals that even in your homes and the skills that God would have given to you, you can establish your business, do something, gain, make some money. Like, listen, God didn't give you talents and gifts for stupidness, just to sit down, just to be in a 1 month, on a 1 month salary, fretting when it's payday and they're paying late. And all of that. No, but at least you have something on the side you can do to sustain yourself while you're waiting on others.
Okay, wonderful. And you said that you're also a teacher.
Yes.
You teach at Harmon SDA. You said you teach Bible, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so in terms of your students and that kind of thing, you said your students had a heavy impact on the creation of the name. What has their response been in terms of you actually creating the business possibilities?
When I had my business lunch, first of all, I couldn't invite everyone because the business lunch was highly sponsored. Well, 100% sponsored by me. So I had 2 of my students who actually interviewed me. And so I wanted them to have the exact feel of, hey, if Miss can do it, we can do it. Honestly, I haven't been to the entire classes yet again to really and truly like show them any item. I haven't shown any student any item really. Besides those of them who on my WhatsApp, they would see from time to time my status. But I plan to do that sometime where they can know how impactful their decision has been. Of course, I've spoken to the young lady who would have been like, they put the icing on the cake. And she was truly touched. I told her I'll do a general presentation in front of the class, give her one of the items of her choice. And just to inspire her that she can push her way forward. And so I'm just hoping that at the end of this all, that at least if I can have 10 students who can establish something after, even while they're in school, I'll be very happy about that.
Okay. And you said that it was 100% sponsored, the business launch. In terms of general financing for the business, was everything else sponsored by you, or did you have assistance from anyone? Did you encounter any financial challenges at all?
The thing about it, I was prepared to spend because, I mean, it's the element of selling is to make back. And so I wasn't afraid to invest to make the items to get back. So yeah, that was done by me. The support is tremendous that I've been receiving thus far. And so as long as those monies come in, I'll be able to get a little something from it. It's just a start. And the main thing is just to get it out there. That's the important thing about it.
Okay, wonderful. And in touching on the workshop, workshop again, is there an age group or
no? There is no age
demographic
group. Because I feel as if, sometimes as a society we limit our young people, or we limit our school age people, like, hey, they're too small to learn about that. Third formers, second formers, first formers. Even at Harmon School, we have a few students who have already have little established businesses through the influence of their parents and all of that. And so I want that to continue. It does not matter your age. If your child is business oriented and they're like, hey, mommy, daddy, I really want to start a business. They're not too young. They may not be able to grasp every single concept, but at the end of the day, the foundation will be set for them, and they can move forward after then. So no age group. You can be 60, you can be 70. Never allow your age to determine when your dream can be a reality.
Most definitely. And if you can, walk us through, that experience when you had that aha moment that, okay, I am going to take my pain and turn it into gain. You're not going to just stay there and wallow in your sorrow. You're going to start a business out of this heartbreak that you're experiencing.
All right. So, of course, it didn't happen right away. So, when it happened, of course, I took a few months. It was difficult. I never thought about a business coming out of it. And so when I calculated, it's like a few months after, it was like May 19th. I have a way I usually write. And so when ideas come, I'll write. And one night I was on my bed and I'm like, this idea, possibilities came. My WhatsApp name is actually Possibilities with God. And so possibilities came and I'm like, Lord, that's pretty interesting. Maybe I could start a brand by the name of Possibilities, even though I didn't know what exactly it would have been. But I'm like, making jerseys would be nice. Yeah. And that is the thought. And so while I'm there, every single time I thought about doing this, I started, my healing process slowly began. And there is where eventually I started opening up to people about my pain. And the more I talked about my pain and what I've been through and what happened, it made it so much more easier for this brand. And it's like my comfort is always, well, okay, this happened, but listen, I'm going to make some money off of this. And so every time I thought about a monetary aspect attached to this brand, I'm like, yeah, bro, you're gonna sit and look at me get rich, And I would just laugh about it. And then one time I'm like, oh, maybe I could write a book about my experience, just to be able to help other young women and young men who may go through this same. So for me, it's like literally a healing. And my thing right now is like, I want everything must be possibilities, like jerseys and I want bags, like every single thing in my house must have something with possibilities. I have a big banner. I don't have space to put it in my house right now. But it's like, I'm like, eventually I will want my my chair, if I can get a possibility chair. I literally research sneakers that they can custom brand. Wow. And I'm like, imagine possibilities going there. And I'm walking in my pain, like walking through it. And so for me, it's just a joy. And moreover, I think the most compelling aspect of it is the fact that I did not expect to be healed so fast. To rebound, to not rebound is not the right word, but to just like get over that. And I remember a friend saying to me, as soon as I sent a flyer to him, he was like, hey, you bounce back, girl. The fact that you can put that out there. And I usually tell people, I don't put things out there about me unless I'm healed. So if I wasn't healed, I was not going to promote that. I had to go through the healing process with God, praying, supplicating, allowing persons within my inner circle to really pray for me to overcome this. And so once that journey was complete, God would have turned that entire situation around. Do I regret it? Oh no, it had to happen so that I can be someone else, like walking into my purpose. And I feel as if, like just being here, just talking with you, it's like me accomplishing a God-given purpose that God has given to me. And had I not had that pain, I wouldn't be able to talk about it. I may not be able to touch the hundreds of people hereafter that I will be able to touch. So if God knew that I had the threshold to deal it, so what? Go through it. And so I want to really appeal to individuals, when we go through a situation, don't cry, yes. Grieve if you
definitely.
must. Don't allow people to shut down your painful moments. And I want to touch that because society, we have a way of telling people, oh, he hurt you, girl, move on. What are you crying for?
You need to
What is
cry.
wrong with that?
Exactly.
No, go through the stages of grieving. I went through anger, I went through disappointment, I went through denial. You name the stages of grief, 100%. And as I went through that, that's why I am here today talking about this, because of the fact that had I been shut down, and of course I had a few friends who were like, girl, stop crying over that matter. But when I thought about it, my tears weren't wasted. But of course, the tears will come back in money.
Yes, of course, tears are going to come back in money. Well, Sabike, we just want to thank you so much for coming on this morning and sharing your experience, inspiring all of us young women and even, the young men to turn their pain into gain. So we just want to share the flyer one more time so that the viewers can see the information for Sabike's workshop that's going to be happening on Sunday, 1st October from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We're going to be covering steps in establishing a business, creation of a business plan, and creation of a personalized business plan. Sorry, creation of a business place, that is.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So we have the contact information here on screen. We're going to give the cost for the event is $120. That's for the early bird registration, and the certificates are $200 TT. So Sabike, thank you again for coming on and chatting with us. Possibilities. I'm going to keep that in mind. Very, very inspiring story.
Thank you very much.
Very, very inspiring. So viewers, stay tuned. We have a lot more coming up for you. Remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
All roads lead to the Roxborough Sporting Complex on Sunday, 24th September for the Republic Day Cultural Show and fireworks. The cultural show will feature a steel band pre-show. Hear from bands like Metro Stars and TN Tech East Side. You'll also witness performances by Best Village Champions 2023, Zante's Unique Touch, Fire Limbo by Encore Dance Theatre, New Edition Folk Performers, Roxborough Lakers, Windward Carnival Calypso Monarch 2023 Giselle Washington, the National Fire Service Band, and a steel pan blowout featuring national arranger Kush Ramsey. The pre-show begins at 5 p.m., the main show at 6 p.m., and the fireworks display at 8 p.m. The only place to be on Republic Day is Roxborough. See you there. Bonaccord Crown Point Electoral District. It's your turn. The THA Executive Council is coming to meet with you as we continue our District Town Hall meeting series.
Canaan, Bonaccord and environs come out that we can know definitely what is happening in our community.
Make sure you all come out and air all your views.
We invite you to come out in your numbers at the Canaan Bonaccord Community Center on Tuesday, 26 September at 6:30 p.m. as the Executive Council members give updates on existing and upcoming programs and projects. You also get the opportunity to share your concerns and ask questions. So, join us from 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, 26 September at the Canaan Bonaccord Community Center for the Executive Council's District Town Hall meeting. People of Bonaccord, including Bonaccord Development, Milford Court, Crown Point, and Storbay Local Road. This meeting is for you. Remember, your voice matters.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
And we are back. We are joined with Miss JL Alexander, entrepreneurial educator and founder of Spanish Intellectual Program. Good morning, JL.
Good morning, everybody.
It's nice to have you here this morning. Lovely smile. I see that you're excited to share with the viewers what you have for us this morning. Right. So we can go directly into it, right? We're going to have a small conversation about JL's journey, her business, her time at Columbia, and we'll of course hear more about that as we go forward. Right, so I'll start up with our first question. JL, to you, could you give us some insight to the backstory of your venture from teaching at Columbia, then to going on to your own school? So where did this all start? Where did this come from?
Basically, I always had a passion for teaching. Ever since I was small, I remember my parents bought me like a blackboard easel kind of thing. And don't judge, but I would pretend to teach to my imaginary friends because
I think that's everybody. You know?
Yeah, because I mean my siblings were too small at the time and we didn't grow up in like the typical family yard. So I would teach to my imaginary friends, and from there it grew and grew. And in 2016 I started tutoring, and it just spun off from there. And I always loved languages, so I decided to merge two things that I enjoy together. Well, typically, three things: traveling, teaching, and languages. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you were able to combine the three and move on.
And move to different places and to reach different people, teaching Spanish, teaching English as well.
Okay. Right. So are there any experiences or an experience in specific that moved you toward wanting to teach in Columbia and then further starting your own school?
Okay, so the opportunity for me to go to Columbia to teach actually came about in my final year of university. I studied Spanish and Business Management as a major minor, and from there we did interviews with ICETEX, which is the organization in Colombia, the country, not the university.
Let's clarify that
yeah, a
one
lot
time.
of people kind of get confused. You were in Colombia? And I'm like, the country, not the university.
And that makes it, I mean, not putting on Columbia University, but being in Colombia, the country, is an experience in itself.
It is, and it was really mind-blowing. To see how similar the cultures are, especially where I was in Cali, Colombia, and the cultures there between Trinidad and Tobago and there are very, very similar. So it was really interesting, and I would advise anybody, even if you want to visit, go visit Colombia. Definitely go.
Even if I'm not going to teach English,
even if you're not going to teach English, still go, still experience, still explore, because it is a very beautiful country, very diverse.
So I heard you mention culture a few times, right? You sound like you really enjoy the change in culture. Yeah. So my next question to you is, was it hard adapting to the new culture? And what was your everyday routine like?
Was it hard adapting to the culture? At first, yes, because moving from academic Spanish into real life Spanish was a big culture shock, because I didn't understand anyone at all. Like the first week, I didn't understand anything.
Believe me, I wouldn't have get past.
And I was like, I'm studying Spanish for so many years and I didn't understand nobody besides hola. Come on. So it was difficult to settle in, but once I got how the accent is and once I got how people interact with each other, it was a lot easier. And I love to dance. So I used to dance salsa regularly, and I learned to dance salsa there as well. So that was part of my daily routine. Usually I would wake up, go to work, teach my students, have a great time, come back home, go to the gym, go to salsa, have dinner with friends. Yeah, it was a whole vibe.
It definitely was. That's a full routine. You went from breakfast right down to salsa
and then
dancing.
Teaching online after that, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That was a lot. I mean, it's still a lot because you're still finding ways to balance here as well.
Exactly.
Right? But we'll get to that. Let's not get too excited.
Yeah.
Right? So what was the teaching itself like? Because you mentioned that, of course, I mean, that was your main purpose of being in Colombia, that is to teach English to Spanish-speaking students.
Yeah.
So what was the teaching like? What kind of challenges you faced?
It was a mix of fear for me in terms of my abilities to teach them English, because as an English speaker, sometimes a non-English speaker would ask you, so why is this like this? And you would not even know how to explain it to them. But since, being qualified as an English teacher, I was able to overcome that fear of mine. Another challenge was the language barrier. My accent for them was a little bit difficult to understand at first, because they learn American English. So my very Caribbean, and I didn't go speaking, I spoke standard English, yes, but I made sure to use my accent so that they are aware that even though English is one of the most spoken languages in the world, that there are different accents that maybe at times are hard to understand.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, just as in Spanish, it's the same. So I had to really pronounce my words properly at the beginning, but throughout the time they became, you know, a little bit more accustomed to it.
Right. So, I mean, as you said, language barrier, but you were able to overcome, especially with your students, right? I think that is very true, you know. English might be a very prominent language throughout the world, but at the same time, you have different accents that would come into play, and that is where the understanding comes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So we're moving on into the Spanish Intellectual Program. That is your business. That is your baby from the discussion that we had. Your chunkalunka. So what motivated you to start the Spanish Intellectual Program?
Well, I was asked in 2018 to help 2 students with preparing for Spanish for CSEC. And from there, somebody else asked, and another person asked, and another person asked. And I'm like, okay, see what you're doing.
Right.
Let's get something on the road. So I created the Spanish Intellectual Program and officially registered it in 2021. Actually, right after or during the pandemic. Yeah, during the pandemic, where I actually had a Spanish camp for children because school had shut down completely. I was like, okay, well, let's do Spanish camp. So I did that, and every single year it just kept growing and growing and growing. The only downfall I would say to having the business is that because I was traveling so much, I wasn't able to settle properly in Tobago. So it was like, okay, do this in Tobago, do this in Colombia, do this in Tobago, do this in Barbados, etc., etc. So now that I am here for a little while, I'm like, okay, let's make sure that I give back to Tobago through this business.
Okay, so you mentioned that the school was online and not face-to-face, right?
Yes.
So let's establish that you are online. Yeah. What age groups are you targeting, and what's the reception like from these different age groups?
So it's from ages 3 and up, all the way to adults.
3?
From 3 years old.
So
and let me tell you
I have a
something.
chance.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I got you. So, my favorite age group, I'm not, not being biased to any other age groups, but
Right.
my favorite ones to teach are the little babies. And everyone is like, how are you teaching them little thread online? They don't pay attention. For me, it's like you have to stay engaged. You have to stay energetic. And through that, every single year when I have a Easter camp or a summer camp or a Christmas camp online, it's always, we want to do Spanish. My little kiddies would see me in the grocery or, Auntie Jeb, when we doing camp? And it's like, oh, I miss you too. But yeah, those are my favorite age groups to teach. But in general, we do from 3 to 5. We do primary school. I do high school and adults. Conversational, of course, for the adults. But for
Right.
high school, we do NCSE, CSEC, CAPE. We focus on those exams for Spanish.
So you're saying that if I join, as you said, I have a chance.
Yes.
Right?
If you could join the baby class if you want to join,
I
just to
think I'll
start.
do that, because there was a point I tried Spanish, and when the doña and the donde and them stuff, they started getting hard, I dropped it.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
sad. A lot of people have that experience. But I think that once you are learning from somebody who enjoys it, who is passionate about it, you will feed off of that energy.
Okay, so we have to wrap up a very short interview
No
for this
problem.
morning. So I just want you to leave with the viewers some advice for any young person or persons young at heart who would like to venture into the same program.
Yeah, I would say, as I said before, passion is what drives your business. Even though a lot of people may be doing the same thing or something similar, your passion is what makes you different. So don't be afraid. Step out there, make the big jump, take the leap, and everything will fall into place.
Thank you so much, Jill. This is Jael Alexander, who joined us this morning to tell us about the Spanish Intellectual Program. The entrepreneurial educator. All right? So thank you, Jael, for joining us. Thank you, viewers, for listening.
Thank you for having me.
Tobago, get ready to venture into the unknown. Mighty Crush Entertainment presents Dream the Phantasm. Join us on September 30th, 2023 from 11 p.m. to experience your newest reality at the Shore Park Complex, Tobago. And the best part, you can get your tickets now at Lust Restaurant and Lounge, Gulf City Lowlands, Jade Monkey Bar, Pablo's Supermarket, Barcode, Spade, Stumpy Complex Canaan, or online at etix.com and islandetickets.com. Mighty Crush Hotline 755-7874 on September 30th at the Shore Park Complex, Tobago. Dream the Phantasm.
So your car break down.
Oh, no, not again.
And you're worried paying a wrecker could mean a pocket breakdown too. But when you're insured with Tatil, no stress.
Yes!
A Tatil motor policy has lots of benefits that protect your pocket, like free roadside assistance. That's free 24/7 every time, as many times as you need. Tatil, where people are people. A member of the Antimacal Group.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates Morning Show. My name is Dwayne Nurse. You're viewing us live here in Portmore, Scarborough. I think it would be remiss of me before I get into my interview to apologize while doing the birthdays to the Honorable Mr. De Freitas. I mistakenly gave him his wrong appointment. He is indeed the president of the Senate, and I want to make that correction and make it known. Right? And we here at Tobago Updates, especially on Youth Wednesdays, we own our mistakes and we try to make amends for that. So happy birthday again goes out to you, Mr. Nigel De Freitas, and apologies. So we want to take it across a notch, if for want of a better word, to the Carnival stage. And this morning we'll be chatting with Miss Avian Gordon, who is the owner and founder of Frolic. Help me out.
Frolic Central.
Frolic Central. You're a band leader, and promoter in this space.
Costume designer.
Costume designer, yes. So how are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you.
I want to be honest and say that it's the first time I have seen you and heard. I've probably seen your work across the space, but I'm no carnival baby.
Right.
But perhaps I would have seen a lot of your work. So tell us about yourself for those who might not know.
Okay, my name is Avian Gordon, the owner of Frolic Central Mass Band. I'm a costume designer and also a facilitator doing wire bending in the Arts of Carnival. So I kind of work with crafting and costuming and so on.
Right, but how did you get into this? Where did it begin for you? Is it something that you just recently picked up?
No, I've been in this business for the past 17 years. This is something I wake up a morning and just feel to do.
Really?
Yes, I call my girlfriend, I tell her, well, I just feel to bring a mask man. I discuss it with my family, they say, well, go for it. And I never turned back since then.
And what year was this?
2006.
2006.
Yes.
And I mean, is it that you're always crafty with your hands? Is it that it runs in the family? God gave you the inspiration or something? What it is?
I would say it's an inspiration. They say, you ever hear about the carnival spirit? The carnival spirit must be there. I think it spoke to me.
Right.
Because even like when I do my designs year after year, I don't just come up with a design just so. I must have a little vibe. It must have something to give me that kind of element to, bring forth the portrayal or
right. So given that, you said in 2006, so is it that you began in Tobago? Is it
Tobago?
So you did some designs for the Roxborough Carnival?
No. I always take part in Scarborough.
Scarborough.
Yeah,
okay,
I never been to Roxborough. I never did Juve. I did the Monday night mass once, but I love conventional. I love the contemporary, the creative kind of thing. Yeah.
All right, cool. That's cool. But Frolic, the name of your business, what inspired the name? Frolic Central.
I had a friend that always used to tell me, you always frolicking. So the name kind of stuck on me from then. So I just said, let me just use it back into the business.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah. That's nice. So it is essentially the center of frolicking through costume making.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it. But so 17 years. So how many incarnations of the carnival have you been engaged in? If you could see.
I'll minus. So besides the 2 years of COVID, I took part in Trinidad Carnival 1 year. That was in 2018 with Mr. Brown.
Right.
So that was a nice experience. I think of all the years, probably once I haven't take part in Tobago Carnival, but usually in February, every year I take part. But last year I took the approach of trying to help other bands. Right, so if anybody approached me and asked me to do any wire bending or assist in making the pieces for the costume,
right.
I don't have a problem.
And I think, I mean, you mentioned that you didn't take part, and it's really good to see that you would have helped, given that it was Tobago's first carnival. So I think it would be remiss of me if I don't ask you, what are your criticisms and praises for the carnival last year, given that it was Tobago's first carnival?
I could kind of take away from the Tobago First Carnival, right? No, it had Tobago Fest before. Usually I take for, when Tobago Fest used to take place, at that time I never used to bring Carnival, right? So in 2018, I remember they tried to do something, but it wasn't a thing. But with what they're doing right now for Tobago Festival or Carnival, whichever way you want to call it, I think is a really good idea. In that it brings in more persons to the festival as opposed to what happens for February. Yes, but for the years I taken part for February, I like the kind of laid backness about Tobago.
Really?
So me taking part in October Carnival with all the magnitude of people that will be coming to the island, it would be a good experience for me, And also, one thing I would like to see in the Tobago Carnival is the children.
More children.
Yes. For about 5 or 6 years, I've been facilitating a carnival art program, but it isn't taking place anymore. I don't know what's going on with it. And I think this is something that we could start back in schools and, teach the children about traditional mass, the history behind carnival, from a Tobago point of view. And, take it forward into having them taking part in the Tobago Festival. Trinidadians or foreigners could have the kids come and play. Do have the elements for children in the mass.
Right. I think you might be a good conduit to advocate for that.
Yes, I'm very good with
this
kids.
This is indeed a platform, so you could use the platform to advocate for that. I hope those at the helm of Carnival are listening, which I believe they are. So you have a band, right? And is your band large? No, educate people like me about bands and how it works and so on.
Okay, well, I taken part in the medium category,
okay.
right? So right now we just
So it has small, medium,
and
large.
yes.
No extra large?
No, I don't think. No,
What
you don't
about
have
the
any
plus size?
No,
I'm just joking.
it doesn't work like that. Yeah, so if I get more persons, well, fine. But I prefer to stay in something that I could control because
Right.
one, I am the mass producer of my bands.
Right.
So I make all the designs, all the headpieces and everything, and I try to stay within what I could control,
Right.
and not necessarily just trying to have a big quantity and numbers and things that I can't.
So this is one of your pieces here.
Yes.
What inspired? What is the name of this piece? What is the name? What is the theme, I should say?
Okay, the theme is nature's luxury,
Mm.
right? And I use the elements of the earth, including, well, this section is from the earth. So I kind of complete each section with a sentence, so to speak, as
Right.
luxury from the earth, luxury from the sea, luxury from the sky, right? And the one element that I did not do is fire. Oh, God, all my pause ways. Now, that fire now is, I did not do it due to certain changes within myself and the business, right? And somebody who has been the core of my business, which is my mom who passed away, and I've decided to do a queen costume in remembrance of her, using the element fire.
And
for
that
our
is
queen.
really, really amazing. That's
Yes,
really
I have a
amazing.
very, I'm connected to mass in a way that it kind of hard to explain. This is something I know on the inside. So me doing what I do and, the portrayals and stuff, it comes from
I mean, I
a
don't want to
special
get
place.
into your secret and so on. But what are some of the materials? At least just name a few.
Secret?
I don't know if it's a secret. I mean, your costume is quite
okay. But I like to go out the box, right? I choose to use no feathers this year, right? Due to the fact, one, whether if they get wet, you don't have to worry about it looking wet floor. It's mostly fabric, and I use the techniques of crafting in macrame, crochet, and weaving, right? And in order to create this, I didn't buy any yarn. Also, I created my own yarn.
Really?
By using spandex. So I use the strips and make my ball. And crochet.
You are exceeding innovative.
Yes, these hands talented.
Yes,
the amount
yes.
of things they go
Indeed.
through, what they're doing now, I'm telling you, yeah.
But that's great though. But it's good that you really thought out of the box, because traditionally, if you look at mass across the space, it's inundated with feathers.
Yeah.
And you really took into consideration what happened last year, because last year was really rainy, and
Yes, it was.
So it's really good. But I've been hearing a lot about you. But do you have a team behind this mass production of your pieces, and anybody in particular you wish to shout out as part of your team?
My family, first and foremost, they back me, right through. I have a group of friends and, who would come in and help. For instance, Stephon Matthews, Shireen from Tie-Dye City. And right now I'm located, I have 2 locations. I have the mass band, mass camp where it used to be at Mongrace, where I'm doing all the wire work and all the hard work. And most of the display and measurements and so on, and the costumes would be taking place in Scarborough, upstairs by Ray's building, Unit 4.
All right. So we just have about a short time, here. What likely would be the cost of your costumes? What is the price range? I don't know if you wish to share that here.
Yeah, no problem. Between 1,005 to 2,001. Now my prices are negotiable. People could come and, they could. If you understand what I'm trying to explain, in the sense.
I don't understand,
Okay.
because wait, before you move on, I think it would be remiss of me if I don't say this. I think, we discount our innovativeness as a people. You are very talented, and I don't want your business to bust.
No, well, you see, the thing is, I understand, right? What you're saying, but due to how costume sales is going, and it have a vibe that is missing, where the masqueraders and the, you know,
Right.
so I don't know if some of the persons having issues with, you know, money-wise, how, you know, to pay. So I kind of want to put it out there that even if you're interested in playing, but
Do a payment plan.
don't have a problem coming at
Yes.
Frolic Central.
We will talk after. I don't want your business to bust at all. I love your work. I am not a carnival baby, as I say, but I love your work. I mean, look at these pieces. It's really inspiring and innovative. They belong on magazines. No, they do. But that is good that you are considering the prices and everything.
Yes, I considering Tobagonians, I consider me player. You see, I love Tobago, and even you see the persons who support the band over the years, like how I'm now coming back out, they're surprised to see, you know, what I'm bringing forth, what I used to do.
Right.
So, you know, I'm kind of looking at Tobago people.
All right. So finally, just share for the viewers, you know, if your Instagram handle, your Facebook handle, your YouTube handle, where they could get you, and we hash where your stores are at, so they could come and purchase your costumes.
Okay, on Facebook and Instagram, you can find me either my personal page, Avian Gordon, or Frolic Central Mass Band. I'm located at Unit 4, Race Building, Uptown Scarborough. That's where the showroom is, all the measurements and so on. It's taking place there. And if you want to visit me at Place of Comfort, anytime after 8 till 3 in the morning, I'm at Frolic Central Mass Band in Montgrace.
Yes, and please, guys, please use your discretion. I know you guys don't rush. No need to rush. You know, line up nicely, and you know, enjoy the thing. But thank you very much, Miss Gordon, for coming.
Yes, thank you for having
You know,
me.
it was a lovely interview, and it was also educational for me as well. And continue doing the good work, guys. That was Miss Avian Gordon, founder and owner of Frolic Central, launching. We're talking about her costumes. Thank you guys for viewing us. I don't know if my producer wants me to close. All right, so this ends up our, you know, Youth Wednesday segment today. And right after here, we're going to Tobago Notes. Thank you guys for viewing. And remember to share the live, share the live, share the live. Have a great day.
The OCS Summer Internship Program gave us the opportunity to have our first official job experience.
My responsibilities would vary from the assignments that were assigned to us. However, my main responsibility currently is to contact suppliers who would have registered with procurement and tell them about the new system with the OPR where they are to register online.
My biggest responsibility is to learn and observe, and just complete tasks that I'm given. So for the 2 months since I've been here, I have been a part of various projects. The biggest one was the business registrar, where we go around the island basically and we register the businesses of the island basically.
Prior to being granted our own responsibilities at the office, we the interns got the opportunity to learn new skills and enhance our knowledge in different areas of our studies.
I learned what business could be about, because most of the time what I learn in school is sciences. So I never did a business subject or anything like that, so I wasn't aware of what procurement or anything was like that. So when I came to the office and I got into what procurement really meant, I learned a lot of what happens in procuring goods and items for the entire OCS and the THM.
I got a lot of insight about what it means to do economics on a public sector level. I worked alongside people who actually study what I study, and that's probably the most important thing for me, learning from them. I learned from, well, he wasn't here, but I was informed a lot about Mr. Perry, who is the head statistician at the department.
We had 2 outings. We went to change all the names on the PCs in the department to make it easier to notify them or If they have a problem on the network, we could understand who it is and where to go. I learned about the different roles in my degree. A lot of jobs I didn't know I could have done, I could do now. So it helped me, navigate a little better career-wise.
My experience when meeting the Chief Secretary, it was pretty insightful. I major in linguistics and education, and he is a fellow linguist himself. So us sharing that commonality was very intriguing and interesting to hear his thoughts as well as his experience in becoming a linguist. He was very intelligent in his delivery, and he was also pretty interested in getting to know the interns on a more personal level.
We thank all the members and staff of the Office of the Chief Secretary and by extension, the Tobago House of Assembly for sharing this wonderful experience with us. Team OCS, one family, one love. I am Kianda Orr, OCS Summer Intern for Let's Talk Tobago.
Mount Pleasant Credit Union Back to School Loan Promotion. Loans up to $15,000. Requirements: job letter and a payslip no more than 1 month old. Utility bill, copy of book list, salary deduction, 10% down payment for self-employed persons, evidence of income and expenditure, bank statement, 12 to 18 months, other supporting document. Promotion ends October 18. Contact us at 639-8375 or 8108 or check us out on www.mpcutobago.com or email us at loan@mpcutobago.com. Mount Pleasant Credit Union's Back to School Loan Promotion.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denasia.
Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds.
The news in 90 seconds is brought to you by Flow, working for you on Tobago's newest fiber network.
The Cabo Star departed Port of Spain at 6:10 p.m. yesterday, even though it was originally scheduled to depart at 2 p.m. The vessel was placed back into service yesterday after undergoing repairs and receiving its recertifications. Curtis Williams, chairman of the Tobago Division of the Trans-Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, welcomed the return of the vessel after almost 4 weeks of disruptions on the sea bridge. Many grocery stores are running short of basic items such as water and bread, while the construction sector has experienced shortages of certain materials. Meanwhile, the chamber is expected to meet with the Minister of Works and Transport, Rohan Sinanan, on Friday. And now, the Princestown MP Barry Padarat is urging Finance Minister Com Imber to address the government's outstanding debts to TNTech and WASA during the budget presentation on October 2nd. In a press release, Padarat emphasized the critical importance of settling these billion-dollar arrears to ensure the survival of WASA and TNTech. He firmly opposes any attempts to burden consumers with these debts. Padarat is calling on the finance minister to present a clear plan for resolving the state's debts to these vital institutions, underscoring their current dire situation. He stresses that the budget presentation provides an ideal opportunity for the government to unveil its payment plan. And finally, Deborah Thomas Felix, the president of the Industrial Court, emphasized the significance of employers implementing safety measures to safeguard workers from heat-related illnesses and climate-related hazards. She highlighted the profound impact of climate change on labor relations, pointing out that its adverse effects on productivity, particularly in Trinidad and Tobago's current hot climate. Thomas Felix advocated for the protection of workers in hot environments, citing findings from the International Labour Organization, ILO, and that excessive heat during work poses occupational health risks, limits physical abilities, and diminishes work capacity and productivity. And that concludes your news in 90 seconds.
Tobago, after freeness is more speed and better TV. Get a free Samsung smartphone and free installation, plus 200 megabits per second, Paramount Plus, and more for only $299 with a select 200 plan from Flow. Visit online at discoverflow.co today.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, viewers. It's a very interesting morning. This morning, we definitely have some good news that the Cabo Star is back in service. It made its way back down to Trinidad in the wee hours of the morning, and it took down quite a lot of trucks that were waiting to go down because, as you know, over the last few weeks, only trucks with essential goods were allowed on any one of the available vessels. And that meant that if a truck came up to Tobago and it emptied, it was not allowed on, as well as depending on the weight limit of the truck. Those trucks were not allowed on the vessels either. So it was quite a lot of them that were very anxious to get down to Trinidad. Now, of course, we know that it's still going to be a while before things equalize here in Tobago. Just because the vessel came back yesterday does not mean all is well today. So we're hoping that as the next few days and few weeks, we can get the stock back up here in Tobago, and things could come back to some bit of normalcy. But this whole conversation over the past few weeks have raised some concerns among some of the political commentators, analysts, etc. within our space. And one of them, one of our political commentators, or activists, I should say, is Mr. Anthony James. And he's on with us this morning. So a special good morning and welcome to you, sir. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. A very pleasant morning to you. I'm fine.
Great. So we're speaking about this whole situation right now. You believe that the breakdown of the sea bridge, or the breakdown of the Cabo Star, I should say, and the disruptions in getting cargo across Tobago gives credence to the need for the rise of secession talks.
Not at all. Yeah, not at all. What needs to happen is that Tobago has to come to power. Secession is an emotional response, an emotional reaction. It's not even a thought, actually. I think it's based upon the fact that we have heard that in the space. And the first mention of that, where Tobago and Trinidad are concerned, did not originate in Tobago from any Tobagonian. It was in the time in the 70s, and I think just after the 1976 general election, when the DAC, led by the late, great A.N.R. Robinson, would have won the 2 Tobago seats, and the PNM felt rejected Dr. Eric Williams, that strong Trinidadian leader. And he would have said, if Tobago want to go, that's, I'm trying to mimic his voice. I don't know if you've heard his voice on tapes, and that's the way he deported himself. He said, if Tobago want to go, let Tobago go. Tobago shall eat grass. He said so. Right? So that happened after the 76 election, but he did not come from Tobago, because he felt jolted and hurt that Tobago voted against him and voted, for his nemesis, A.N.R. Robinson. So if you look back, Robinson, who was the principal of the Tobagonian struggle at the time, and his vice principal was another great Tobagonian, Dr. Winston Murray. Dr. Winston Murray, who was kicked out of the parliament within that very term. Between that term from 76 to 81, he was dismissed from the parliament because of the strength and dignity of his contributions. And so that he would have departed for the United States, and he came back and took up residency again in the late 1990s, somewhere around late 98 to 1999, and he established the Tobago Community College. And when he came back, he advocated a system called federalism. He said there ought to be a federal system between Tobago and Trinidad, which has nothing to do with secession. He had come out from that because he lived in the United States, which has a federation, and the most successful federation the world has ever known, the United States of America, where each state governs itself. All right, the 50 states, and at the head of that, you have a federal government with a president of the Federation of the United States of America. So you can see from that, nowhere did that conversation come out from Tobago. And the Tobagonians of today have to be very careful because many of them are speaking out of turn. Now, before Robinson and Dr. Winston Murray, the person who really highlighted and started the Tobago struggle is the one where the park up at Burnett Street is named after, A.P.T. James. And in the parliament in the 1940s, he made these statements, and I only got to know these things by my association with Dr. Winston Murray. That's how I got to know. Because these things are not published in Tobago. We don't know the contributions that our representatives have made in the parliament in Trinidad. And he said, Tobago is not a part of Trinidad. He realized Tobago is a ward, but he's speaking in the sense, or in the tense, that it ought not to be. And from his own freedom tense, he said that Tobago is not a part. And in reality, we are not. It's just because of this system of bondage jurisdictionally, Tobago falls within that. So he said Tobago is not a part of Trinidad, but rather Tobago ought to be partners with Trinidad. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then when you look at what Dr. Winston Murray said, it's coinciding because a federation is a partnership.
So then with this situation where we had such a shortage of food on our shelves over the past few weeks, and not just food, I mean construction materials,
everything,
or just regular goods,
everything,
right? Then how does this situation fit into the context of the governance structure that we should have between the islands?
That is it. And so that A.P.T. James said it first. He identified it. He said Tobago and Trinidad ought to be partners. Okay? And Dr. Winston Murray went a step further and said a federation. That's the official political language, right? What is missing here is that Tobago does not have power. And Tobago, as I've said in other forums, if I may use the word instead of fora, Tobago, as I've said, Tobago is not the subject in its own sentence. If we go back to primary school, where we learn at that time, they said there are more now, but they said at that time that there are 8 parts of speech. You remember that? The first one, they begin with subject, verb, object, predicate, and all preposition, conjunction, these things. Now, what's the function of the subject? The subject is the controlling noun. The controlling noun of the sentence, of the story, because life is a story. This is a story being played out here. Who are the subject? So that Tobago is not the subject, because the subject determines the verb. The subject determines the purpose. They call the purpose in what we learn the predicate, because it is predicated upon, or the premise. I'm just giving better language than the teachers would have given us. The subject determines the purpose of the story, the purpose of the sentence. So in this sentence and paragraphs, statements, question marks, they all comprise a story, a short story. Tobagonians aren't the subject in that sentence. And it is wrong. It's a violation of human rights. It's a violation of what that organization called United Nations. I don't have so much respect for that organization, really, right? But it's there in their charter that every people must govern themselves. What that simply means is that you must be the subject of your own center. You have to be the subject in your own center. You have to order yourself. You have to order your story, right? You look at what is going on now in Africa, right? Africa is rebelling against France and against Europe and against the United States. And it's all about decolonization. We live in an era that is supposed to be post-colonial. The principals in Trinidad, they know that. They are not ignorant of that. The context of the Caribbean is decolonization because we are colonized. It's not where Tobago is concerned about devolution of power. Those in Tobago will think that we have to fix their minds. Right? So this is all about decolonization. But Tobago and Trinidad, even before Tobago got into a relationship, or not got into a relationship, became a ward of the British government of Trinidad, before Tobago became subject to British Trinidad, not native Trinidad, not the new native Trinidad we see in here, but British Trinidad. So since before that time, we had a relationship. And we continue to have relationship now, a long relationship. So to say, well, you're going to secede, you're going to break up, well, we have to define what that really means. Right? And you can't wake up tomorrow and secede because you have control over nothing. And not that you don't have control. The fact that you don't have control also implies that you don't have experience in certain things. What do I mean by that? I'm talking about institutions. Because a government is a subset of institutions. You follow what I'm saying, Candice? And my fellow Tobagonians, a government is a subset of institutions because we all feed collectively from institutions. You want water, there's a water authority. You want electricity supplied, there's an authority for that. And it is all constituted by law and by policies. You want to receive current, before TNTEC or the supply authority can connect you, you have to be certified and approved and so on. You have an institution for that. We have to build institutions and we have to practice to run the institutions. And so we have to have an education system to supply the institution.
So then where does this leave us now? With this whole situation, we had a month of disruptions and it affected us. And, we had to wait for Trinidad, the authorities in Trinidad to make the necessary and to fix it and so on. And to, even give us the MV Emprendedora and all those other things. But, now it's fixed. So Trinidad is saying, okay, now everything is fixed. Everything is back to normal. So you all should be good. But then how should we use this situation then to get that greater power and to even define the type of power that we need?
That's it. And that's why I began the subject being the subject in your own sentence. In fact, that has been the conversation. APT James and James Begart before him, they addressed that issue. And that is what informs the politics. But all of this comes down to leadership. You can only go as far as your leadership represents you, as your leadership allows you. Of course, there will be obstacles, but that is what makes life sweet. As Glenn Washington said in the song, the hotter the battle, the sweeter the victory. And there's a victory to happen. There's a victory. But I'm saying it comes down to leadership. What is going on now in the world? The world for the longest while has been a unipolar world, being run by the United States of America, who has bullied the world. And it is the dignity of Vladimir Putin and the dignity of Xi, who's in a real sense succeeding Mao Zedong, right? They are providing leadership, but it all stems from a proper comprehension of world politics, and they are equipped with dignity. They are dignified, and because of that dignity and their strength, they are now changing the world from being unipolar to multipolar. So that we all know that in Tobago here, the leadership that has been elected or have been elected, they are the ones to make the overtures to the power structure in Trinidad and defeat the power structure in Trinidad. Because on the issue of right and wrong, the issue of every man has a right to defend or to, decide his own destiny. In that judgment, there can be no partiality, Bob Marley thundered. So that Trinidad cannot defeat Tobago in an argument of the destiny, the right of the people of Tobago. Those that represent Tobago, however, must be able to carry that argument, to carry that fight. Once, because we have gone past Robinson, we have gone past Murray.
Yes.
We have gone past that era. We are in an era that now, this conversation has gone on for a long time. It's just how to jump over that final hurdle to go into the promised land. But I'll tell you something. So what is needed is constitutional reform. The prognosis and the solution offered by APT James is what is necessary. It is a partnership. There are many Tobagonian families in Trinidad, Trinidadian families in Tobago. We have built up a relationship. We don't need to sever ties. You know what I'm saying? We need to fix that. We don't need to sever ties. That's the solution. The solution is coming in to power in your own circumstance. That is what has to happen.
And then how would you even evaluate how we handle it here in Tobago, how our leadership, meaning the chief secretary, and I mean, we could even bring in the minority, our representatives in the parliament, our senators. Point. How did they then handle this situation and use it as a way for us to get that greater power that we deserve?
And it's an excellent point, really. It's like we do in dancing, we have leads and follow. You know what I mean? So we have the leader's step and we have the followers step. And clearly that question there is really a follow from what came into the fray there. And if one has to be really honest here, and sometimes you speak here, and the trolls and them outside who are supporters of different, but they don't like you to speak the truth. But if the truth be told, there ought to be a unity. There should have been a calling together of everyone. That's leadership. You know what I'm saying? The assembly has two sides. It ought not to be. There should be one side in the assembly there because the chamber is curvular, as Robinson observed.
Like the horseshoe.
The horseshoe is curvular. So Robinson said, it is not majority and it's not government and opposition, but it is majority and minority. He said the leader of the majority collects the views of the majority, brings it to the house. I was there for the speech. He says the leader of the minority collects the views of the minority, brings it to the house, and you discuss and you come to a consensus, because he said, I wish that Tobago remains in the hands of Tobagonians, because he realized there was an advance, a marching advance from Trinidad to colonize Tobago. He saw that and he was responding to that. So that clearly the House Assembly is designed for consensus. It's not you on one side attacking the other. There's no government and opposition. That's British thing. In Tobago here, we are one community here. We go into each other's wake, funeral, wedding, whether we invited or not, because we are one family here in Tobago. And it is our culture that should inform and represent our politics. So that the House Assembly should have gotten together with the representatives of East as West. But only leadership, real leadership, can do that. You need a leadership to excel the quarrel, the antagonism that is now taking place. You need a leadership to soar above that. And the population must see that leadership, recognize that leadership, so that the population can rally and be led. You ask an excellent point, because that really did not take place. I saw and listened points, people arguing to still win the point, to win for PNM, win for UNC, win for TPP. It's all madness. We need now, as one people, to agree that something here is wrong. And what is wrong is that Tobago does not have power. We don't even have power over our own resources. That is what is going on in Africa again. That is the heartbeat of colonization, to rob people to teeth. Even though the scripture says, love your neighbor as yourself and thou shalt not steal. We live in Trinidad and Tobago and people are raising the flag and so on in Tobago here and standing at attention. I don't regard the anthem. The anthem is marvelous and magnificent, but the Constitution contradicts the anthem. The anthem is brilliant philosophically. He's saying side by side, he speaks to the highest ideal, forged from the love of liberty and in the fires of hope and prayer. You know what I mean, Candice?
Yes.
So that's what's going on. But the Constitution is saying, who wins Trinidad, Tobago is yours.
And that's an excellent point that we'll have to pause this conversation. Stick a pin right there. But we'll be back right after this break. So viewers, please don't go anywhere.
As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say,
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Okay, passage and come on over.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Roads lead to the Roxborough Sporting Complex on Sunday 24th September for the Republic Day Cultural Show and fireworks. The cultural show will feature a steel band pre-show. Hear from bands like Metro Stars and TN Tech East Side. You'll also witness performances by Best Village Champions 2023, Zante's Unique Touch, Fire Limbo by Encore Dance Theatre, New Edition Folk Performers, Roxborough Lakers, Windward Carnival Calypso Monarch 2023, Giselle Washington, the National Fire Service Band, and a steel pan blowout featuring national arranger Kush Ramsey. The pre-show begins at 5 p.m., the main show at 6 p.m., and the fireworks display at 8 p.m. The only place to be on Republic Day is Roxborough. See you there.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, we are continuing our conversations this morning with a political activist, Mr. Anthony James. And our topic for this morning is that, is it time for secession? Of course, this is in light of what happened over the past month with the breakdown of the Cabasa. Now, the Cabasa is back into service. Now, Mr. James says we don't need secession, even though there were quite a few people that was speaking about it, at least people within the population. You know, there were people who was considering, well, look at what's going on, maybe that this is the time. But we only heard them at ground level. We didn't hear a lot of voices coming forth, other than the business community, coming forth and then talking about the situation that we are faced with and what we might need to do to fix it.
So, where I stand, I believe in the philosophy of APT James in the context of Tobago and Trinidad. I believe in the philosophy of Dr. Winston Murray in the context of Tobago and Trinidad. Those two gentlemen propose a federation of Tobagonians and Trinidadians. And in fact, that is what ought to pervade the entire English-speaking Caribbean.
And we have an example of it in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Right, and you also have it, the one that I am promoting is what exists in the OECS countries. You see, because right here in the OECS, we don't speak about it because we don't look inside. We don't do introspection. And the OECS have a better relationship than Tobago and Trinidad. They respect each other and so on. Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Dominica, Grenada. They have a marvelous relationship. They're all playing their sports by themselves. They have their own prime minister, head of states, and so on. But the things that they do together and the mutual assets, they set up mutual committees to deal with that. But they maintain their independence. So you don't need any federal government. You need a federal structure. So in official language, it is called a confederation. That is what existed in the United States before they became a federation. Because the United States used to be before a confederation.
Yes.
And they have the Confederate flag and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So we need to become better students of politics. And sometimes what happens here is that you have people who go on into the politics, but they're really not students of politics. And they go in there and they are failing, and their supporters are supporting them ardently, but they can't do the job. They can't do the job because you're not trained overnight. This takes baptism. This takes time to be converted. Even Jesus Christ's disciples, they were around him for the duration of his ministry. And at the end of it, he said they were not converted. So he told Peter, when you are converted, strengthen the brethren. So, and that conversion only came when the spirit of salvation came into them. And in Tobago here, that spirit has to enter. And so that you become now, to this way, you become unrepentant. And that you're willing to give your life for it. But we need an understanding. We need knowledge, wisdom, understanding to carry this job. One of the things I must say instructively is that, some time ago we were caught up with this 2/3 argument. We have to have 2/3 support from the parliament in order for us to be free. Like Trinidadians and the parliament must decide. And if they never have a 2/3 majority, we can't be free. But that is absolute rubbish. 3/5 majority, 3/4. That is absolute rubbish. And we are not part of that Trinidad parliament necessarily.
Well, not only that, when I look at some of the discussions that are happening on a CARICOM level, because right now there's that push for us to establish the CSME. Even though we already have it, but to push that forward, right? We're not seeing Tobago in those conversations, really. We're seeing it from the Prime Minister's perspective, and we're seeing all the different leaders of the region trying to see how they can make it happen, but we're not seeing Tobago in that.
Tobago is really a shadow, eh? I mean, whether we like it or not, this is where we are, and Tobago has to born. We have to born into the world community. We have to be born as a nation. This is what we're really fighting for. We are fighting to be recognized, to have a life that is Tobagonian. We have to be born. So it's very instructive. I'm saying this for the benefit of Tobagonians, so we could understand. I want to hammer this point home. We are not necessarily part of that Trinidad Parliament and the Trinidad Constitution. Robinson won that fight. It was always like that. We were never part of it. Tobago was co-opted. We're not part of that. We live in our own country. Tobagonians live in their own country. 114 or 16 square miles here. This is our country. And the name of our nation is Tobago. Our country is an island country. That's the only geography. Our home is an island country, but we live in our home, our country. Whether the house is made of steel or wood or blocks, that's the island there. Britain is an island. You don't hear them talking about the island and the island, the island. And on the island, this is a slave language that you have been saying in Tobago here, is the language of the dispossessed. We have to come in psychologically to possession and call the house a home, call the island country, because before 1889, and in fact, even from 1889 into the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, we were still known as country here. My mother referred to Tobago as country. It's late with the bombardment and the advent of media in Trinidad, and they're referring to Tobago now. They were not speaking to Tobago. They are reading the news in Trinidad, speaking to a Trinidad audience, and then they refer to third person Tobago on the island. We looking in now and interpret that as first person and calling ourselves now on the island. We are on. It's crazy.
So at this point, and given everything that's happened, what should Tobagonians on the ground do? Because we understand that, maybe our leaders might have some work of their own to do, but what should us as Tobagonians right now do on the ground and see to push this thing forward for us to get that power that we need?
So I'm getting there. Let me just close off this question here. Right? Robinson won that argument in 1977 with the motion. He got the parliament to accept that Tobago is not legitimately part of that constitution when he moved that motion for self-government in Tobago.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why you qualify for self-government is because you are a colony. You have your own land, your own nation, but you're in a colonial relationship. We follow that there? So Robinson established that, and that is on the parliamentary records. Therefore, we don't need any 2/3, 3/4, 3/5. What is needed here in Tobago is proper leadership from the leadership of government here. And I hear people saying, oh, the House Assembly is not government. Well, they all, I mean that from Martin George and Reginald Dumas and so on. Well, they have a lot to learn because a motion was moved for government, and government exists at different levels, not only at state level. You have local government elections in Trinidad. So you had local government elections, but you didn't have another government in Trinidad. You follow what I'm saying? Right? So that Tobago, what is needed here is that the leadership of the government here must engage. You have to declare our position here. But you can't declare your position if you don't have a constitution. And this is why I've said earlier o'clock, I've said it on my presentation, so I've said it here. The House Assembly ought to be engaged in robust legislation. The House Assembly ought to be a buzz of activity. You can't have self-government if you don't have your own constitution. If you're there and you're not utilizing your house to make laws. Self-government means that you have to have a judiciary. You have to constitute that. So the question is, what is the vision of Tobagonians? And is that vision being captured and led and carried in the house today? This is a question Tobagonians have to answer. We have to depart from the vile emotions. We have to come into a kind of sense right now. If we really want to hit the bullseye to pass over the River Jordan into that promised land. Because self-government cannot come from Trinidad. Self-government did not for the Israelites, did not come from Egypt. Can't come. You have to have a focused leadership that is keeping the eyes on the ball to go over. It is all now about self. We have to consider, there's a work that we have to do. What the Trinidad Parliament, what they have already done, they have done already. We have to do the rest. We have to constitute ourselves. This is no longer a fight about PNM. Oh, I don't like PNM. I hate them. This is not about that. That can't solve nothing. And if you really want to get rid of PNM, you have to come up with your own philosophy so that when you get this philosophy here and your own constitution, the PNM is no more.
All right. Well, Mr. James, we are unfortunately out of time this morning. You said quite a lot. And I mean, I hope people are listening.
I hope so.
So thank you so much for being on with us, for sharing your opinions. And viewers, please don't go anywhere because we have a lot more coming up for you after the break.
As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks to
Bonaccord Crown Point Electoral District. It's your turn. The THA Executive Council is coming to meet with you as we continue our District Town Hall meeting series.
Canaan, Bonaccord and environs come out that we can know definitely what is happening in our community.
Make sure you all come out and hear all your views.
We invite you to come out in your numbers at the Canaan Bonaccord Community Center on Tuesday, 26 September at 6:30 p.m. as the Executive Council members give updates on existing and upcoming programs and projects. You also get the opportunity to share your concerns and ask questions. So, join us from 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, 26 September at the Canaan Bonaccord Community Center for the Executive Council's District Town Hall meeting. People of Bonaccord, including Bonaccord Development, Milford Court, Crown Point, and Storbay Local Road. This meeting is for you. Remember, your voice matters.
Inner Health, number 13B Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago, with over 25 years experience offering services in and not limited to microscopic blood analysis, reflexology, and the sale of a wide range of organic herbal products used to supplement thyroid, lymphatic, heart, kidney, and brain health, and the male and female reproductive systems. Come and chat with us. Remember, your health is your wealth.
Tobago, get ready to venture into the unknown. Mighty Crush Entertainment presents Dream the Phantasm. Join us on September 30th, 2023 from 11 p.m. to experience your newest reality at the Shore Park Complex, Tobago. And the best part, you can get your tickets now at Lust Restaurant and Lounge, Gulf City Lowlands, Jade Monkey Bar, Pablo's Supermarket, Barcode, Spade, Stumpy Complex Canaan, or online at WeTix.com and IslandEtickets.com. Mighty Crush Hotline 755-7874 on September 30th at the Shore Park Complex, Tobago. Dream the Phantasm.
Summerama, real steam for the summer at Standard. Is a dream for the summer. Dreamy, steamy, Standard. What you have? All the best deals, no drama. Standard beat like a hammer. Go tell your friend, tell your papa, tell your mama. We got more. Standards have what you're searching for. Quality brand, discounts galore. New things for the summer, online in store. Summertime is here, so make the most out of it at Standard. Never beating on quality and price. It nice.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denise.
Let's go. It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, we are switching gears now away from the politics and into a little something exciting coming up right here in Tobago. And it's called Rebel Road, happening on October 7th. Very, very soon. So we are being joined this morning by Mr. Quincy Trim and Mr. Chris Phillip from Rebel Road. So good morning and welcome to you both.
Good morning.
So first of all, I guess I could start with Mr. Phillip. Tell me a bit about Rebel Road. What's it all about?
Right, Rebel Road, this is our version of the Carnival. We don't have, they say we don't have Carnival Monday in Tobago. So we want to put out our version of Carnival Monday for the people of Tobago.
And it's happening on a Monday?
No.
It's happening on a what day?
A Saturday, but it's still our version of Carnival Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And why, Mr. Trim, why was this something that you both felt that you needed to do?
I felt like it was an opportunity to give Tobagonians a true Carnival experience in its purest form, which is Carnival Monday. Most Trinis, most Tobagonians who have experienced Mass has always said that Carnival Monday is the best Monday in the world. So we wanted to make our Rebel Road the best Saturday, the best Carnival event in the world by giving them a full experience, trucks on the road, Monday wear, rest stops, and even giving persons an opportunity to actually cross our actual stage.
But so I want to ask you this, and maybe this might be a little bit controversial. So why not have this as part of the Tobago Carnival celebrations?
Just to avoid clashing with other promoters, we're trying to we don't want Carnival to just be a weekend. We want it to be an entire month. Hence the reason why we entered early up in the month. So it gives persons an opportunity to have a full month of activities, whether it's our event or other events done by local promoters.
Great. And where is it going to be happening?
It's going to be at the Canopy. We're starting from the junction, utilizing the entire stretch, and then we finish it inside the facility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And tell me just about some of the features that are going to be as part of this.
So for sure, we starting on the road. So some of the features is that we actually have a rest stop. So in your Carnival Monday or your Carnival Tuesday experience, you actually have a rest stop where you experience a hydration station, somewhere to lie down, somewhere to chill, somewhere to fix your Monday wear. Then we move into the facility where we actually crossing the stage. So you have the euphoria of crossing an actual stage while the confetti comes down, you and your crew under the sunlight, just get a full Carnival experience, and then we finish inside Cano Bay. And then inside Canoe Bay, you have that all-on mass experience where you could collect your food, you're getting massages, you're getting drinks, you're getting food, and then we still partying inside Canoe Bay to basically give you a last lap experience.
And do you have costumes already lined up for people to purchase, or is it that they're going to be walking with their own costumes?
Well, the local designers in Tobago have been making Monday wear for patrons, and I think everybody who does that fully booked up to make Monday wear for the event. So they can go and purchase from those people. Yeah.
So tell me about some of those people that you have on board with you.
Well, technically not on board, but they are part of the experience. Yeah. We have Kaiso Kani, we have First and Black, we have KTA Designs, we have Euphoric Designs, we have Everyday Wear by Rasta Cheek. Those are some of the local, well, Tobago brands, and then you also have CB Designs in Trinidad. Nice. Most of them have done their launch videos last week, available in all sizes, ranging from $350 to $500. Some have also included visors, stockings, as well as sunglasses.
And if people, how can people be a part of it? Is it that you just show up? Is there a ticket that you have to purchase? Like, what's the structure like?
Yeah, we have tickets selling at outlets, Barcode, Cache, Evoke, downstairs, Hysteria Fashions, and Extreme Solution in the Crown Point, and all Dynasty and DXL committee members. Also, tickets available on islandetickets.com.
Mm-hmm. And prices or?
Tickets now are $400. It's drinks inclusive as well.
Very, very reasonable $400.
Yeah.
So you said it's drinks inclusive. Yeah. Would there be food as well?
On the inside, yeah.
On the inside, yeah. So at the end of the event, obviously after you, I guess, revel for 2.5, 3 hours, there'll be food inside as well as other surprises.
Mm-hmm. And then what time would this start in the morning?
Actually, it's not in the morning, it's in the afternoon. So it's a true Monday wear experience. So it's gates open at 3. The trucks will be pushing off at 5 or 5:30 after persons gather, and then we make our way into Canoe Bay.
Mm-hmm. So at the end of it, like, what are you hoping to instill amongst your people? Like, what's the goal for this? How far do you want to take it?
I think the goal is just to show that two things. Tobago has a carnival, and you could have a carnival experience in Tobago. And also, we want to raise the bar on how good or a good event in Tobago. You know, typically persons say that you have to go to Trinidad to get a good event experience. But between DXL Promotions and Dynasty, we think that we could raise the bar where persons wouldn't be inclined to go to Trinidad. So it's really just raising the bar on how events are being done in Tobago.
All right, great. And I guess I don't know if there's anything else that I left out that you would like to tell the viewers.
Go get tickets.
Most important, go get tickets. And just come out and have fun. Like, we need to take hold of the carnival and just have a carnival. You know, there's a month of activities. There are lots of events on the island. There are lots of opportunities for persons to party, try new events. Just go out and support your local promoters.
And of course, this is happening on October 7th, right?
Yep.
So viewers, if you are interested in something a little bit different, come out and support two very young men who are trying to make a difference right here within the culture aspect of things. So come out and support them as, we enhance what we have here in Tobago.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, great. I want to thank you both for being on with us so much. And viewers, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Jimmy's Holiday Resorts has 1, 2, and 3 bedroom, fully self-contained apartments located at the heart of Crown Point. Minutes walk to the popular beaches, restaurants, bars, and the airport. Enjoy our amazing amenities such as fully equipped apartments, complete with Wi-Fi, AC, TV, and a pool, and a mini-mart on the compound. Call 639-8292 or 8929. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts is your family's home, away from home.
Wait, I don't even have suit and thing for this wedding. Why getting them things?
Well, the port right over there.
Alright, thanks.
The Port Mall, where the varieties are large from your favorite stores, from restaurants to salons and from clothing stores to jewelry stores, located at Sangsas Hill, Scarborough, Tobago. Telephone number is 868-334-6589.
Wow. I didn't expect to see you here. Look good.
Thanks. It's all because of you and Port Mall. But here now I'm going to have with you. You want to join me?
Yeah, that's okay.
Alright.
Beat the rush and come on down to the Port Mall.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denise.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, it is my pleasure to be joined right now by Mr. Rajman from the Argyle Farmers Association, Mr. Ramesh Rajman, as well as Professor Wayne Gangpat, who is a retired dean of the Faculty of Food and Agriculture with UWI, and he says he's continuing to be a professor. You don't stop being a professor. So welcome to you both.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. I'm Professor Gangpat.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So is it doctor or professor?
Professor supersedes the doctor.
All right. So these two fellows are here this morning because we are speaking about a special training that's happening for farmers that's been going on actually for the last 3 days at the Kendall Farm School. So, Mr. Ramesh, could you just give us a little brief synopsis of what is this training about and how has it been going so far?
Well, let me say thanks to Tobago Updates for having us this morning, to the viewing public of Tobago, and also for the wider world. The training that we have embarked upon is really a collaborative effort with the Mar Vista the Mavista Institute for Agriculture Training and Development we are collaborating with, and also the division of the Tobago House of Assembly. Right. The training so far have, shown a lot of interest by the participants, because I've observed on many occasions where, you have training program, and after people eat lunch, they're gone. But people wait until the time to go home, and they still want to absorb more. So it means, therefore, that what Mr. Marcus Michael is doing, it means, therefore, that it is bearing some fruits, right? And the process to which we are embarking to realize high productivity and greater yield, right, is a system, a scientific system that he is using in order to make the plant produce more, greater yield. So he's teaching us how to apply, the scientific way on application of fertilizers, when to apply it, and things like that. So we've been doing it wrong all the time. So that is why we were getting, not great yield. We were getting enough to survive, but not to be marketable in a profitable way to say it's a business we're doing.
I mean, and that's certainly good news, especially as we continue to speak about food security in Tobago. And we've been hearing the messaging from the Secretary of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development, Mr. Tisha Charles Panton, who keeps saying that it has to be about treating agriculture as a science, because it literally is a science. Like when you are in school, agriculture is considered one of the sciences that you take. So Professor Gangpat, now he was, just before we started, Professor was telling us about the fact that he has quite a lot of extensive and historical knowledge of agriculture here in Tobago. Now I'm excited to talk to him about that part, but we're probably gonna have to bring him on at another time to get into those discussions. But Mr. Gangpat, things are changing right now within our space. And I should say Professor Gangpat, things are changing right now within our space, especially with the heat wave that we are experiencing, or the hot spell as the meteorological office calls it. Now, how is that affecting our farmers, and how does that even change, the way that we treat with our crops and even our livestock?
Okay, so that's a very good question. It's very topical now. Everybody is complaining about the heat, but the heat, it's the two things, heat and drought. So we're battling two issues. Drought, which is lack of precipitation, insufficient water, and then we have the heat. Now, last night I was looking at I was teaching a class, and I was presenting them two charts showing them over the last 7 decades, the mean decadal temperature has slowly, for Trinidad and Tobago, has slowly risen all the time. It's getting hotter. And I compared that with the precipitation for the same period, last 7 decades, so that's since 1950, it has been going down. So you have temperature rising and less precipitation. But that's a recipe for disaster in agriculture if we don't take action. I mean, the climate crisis is upon us. It's no longer climate change, it's a crisis, it's upon us. I mean, the United Nations Secretary General just called, said the earth is boiling.
Yes.
He said that the other day. So, and that impacts everybody, but it impacts for us. We're particularly concerned about farming. So there's two things, there's the crops, livestock, and then you have the farmers, all impacted by heat. So it's the crops are going to suffer, will die, insufficient water, livestock, worse, because if they can't get water, if they can't be cool, if they can't drink, broilers, the chickens are going to suffer dramatically. And then, but nobody's talking much about the farmer. He has to go out there, and that's an occupational risk to him from heat stress, heat stroke, and a number of other things. So it's impacting everybody, and we really need to take action as soon as possible to help farmers across the country. But we're here to focus on Tobago farmers for this week. So that's what we're about.
Now, I mean, and as you brought it up, it was interesting that the head of the industrial court yesterday at the opening, she actually spoke and she listed farmers as one of those people that are at risk of heat stress and all the complications that come with it. So, and I know that this part of the discussion is also part of the training that's going on right now at the Kendall Farm School. But Mr. Rajman, I want you to tell me a little bit about what are your farmers experiencing out there in the fields, at least over these past few weeks, especially.
Well, I can tell you, yesterday we had a demo, and it was very dehydrating. People had was to, drink, but they stood it out in the sun. But a lot of people had was to come where we had the, little refreshment to refresh and to go back in on the field to see what's supposed to be done. So it's really, really impacting. It will impact farmers. If this heat continue, it will impact our livelihood, right? Because as Professor Gampat said, the plants wouldn't have enough water in order to survive. We would not have enough, and if the crisis continues, we're hoping that the boat come on stream back and we could be able to get water.
Well, it came back yesterday.
Well, hopefully. we don't know when again it will go, because it's mechanical, right? And I do hope that we in Tobago, the policymakers, do things that will really impact Tobagonians by setting things up that we know it may not that permanent, but semi-permanent, so that we could be able to have a better livelihood, especially in the farming community.
So, Professor, what can be done for farmers that are looking on, or even our home gardeners? Because we have a lot of people here in Tobago, they have their own little kitchen garden that they are doing to help sustain themselves and so on. But what are some of those practical things that we can do to make sure that our crops are higher yielding?
Right, so we call this farming or food production in the new normal. That's where it's going to be. We're not going to go back. We're just going to go forward, and everything's going to get worse. So farmers and home food producers also have to adapt. So they have to take on new techniques, new technologies, etc., to continue to farm, to be successful farmers. So in this climate crisis era, farmers have to adopt, and we're talking about drought here now. Tobago is more susceptible to drought, not so much flooding. So two things for Tobago: loss of fertile soil on the hillsides, that's in heavy rain, that's an issue. Trinidad is flooding, they have to deal with that. And both countries have to deal with drought. But Tobago really particularly for drought. Farmers have to adopt new technologies. So there are new technologies. They have to engage in rainwater harvesting. And even when they harvest their water, they have to, that's for homeowners could do that. Farmers could do that. Farmers have the additional thing to dig ponds. They could get ponds dug and they could store their water to last them out in dry periods. Dry periods in the dry season and longer dry periods in the rainy season. You understand what I'm saying? So they need to dig ponds, and associated with ponds, they must have micro irrigation. So they must have used trickle irrigation systems, and householders could do that. They have very simple systems for householders that they could do that they could put it on a timer, they could use their smartphone to do it. And farmers could have to adopt these things, because water is a precious commodity now if we want to get past. So that's just some of the things just dealing with drought. Going further, these farmers have to advocate for the ministry or the Division of Assembly or UE to start producing more drought-tolerant crops for them. And we have to change the crops that we get, because the crops no longer going to withstand all this heat. But the training that we're doing this week is also, while we have those things going on, those crops and whatever it is, building resilience, getting higher productivity out of what we have, is if farmers understand the science of agriculture, science of farming, then they could apply technologies, pesticides, fertilizers, and we could build better productivity from the crops that we have. Now, it's not just about surviving, but it's about prospering.
Now, as you mentioned, changing the type of crops that we grow here, because, that is a very interesting discussion, because we have to be concerned about the heat. What are some of those crops, from your knowledge, that that would better suit the conditions we have now?
Well, it's not so much, we don't change the crops, we change the varieties. So we could continue to grow some of the crops, but there are varieties across the world. People have developed drought-tolerant varieties of the same crops, vegetables, root crops, where was it? I think in St. Vincent right now, they're planting a variety of dasheen that is drought tolerant and all this kind of thing. So there are, all over the world, there are varieties. We have to just get them, screen them, test them, roll them out. That's the work of research and the work of extension officers in the Division of Agriculture to promote these things among farmers. But farmers have a big role in it. If farmers don't advocate enough, if farmers make enough noise, they will get things. I always say it's a push-pull system. And if the government, whoever it is, not pushing, then farmers have to demand and pull, and they could get the extension. They must demand that they get it, and there will be a response. They need it now.
Especially since the farmers are the reasons why we are able to eat.
Yep.
Simple reason. All right. Well, we are unfortunately out of time, and Professor Gangpat, I hope this means that you would be back with us, because there is a whole lot more that we can get into when it comes to agriculture. And of course, I want to thank you, Mr. Ramesh Rajman.
Can I speak in something before we close? I want to say that the ministry, we are training also extension officers, because we see the need for them to be a part of the training, right? And what Professor Gampat have alluded to or said, to have ponds, we have initiated, Argyle United Farmers Development Group, has initiated the grant from Digicel to have a pond dug at our area up in Argyle. So we are actually looking into the future, right? So hats off to Digicel. We are in the last 10. Today we're hoping to be selected for the grant, hopefully, right? But so that's all I have to say.
Certainly, I want to thank you so much. And, this is reasons for people to continue to come out and support our farmers, because they are trying, and it's not easy conditions out there. So thank you both for being on with us. And viewers, please don't go anywhere, because in an hour's time at 10 o'clock, you're going to be having brunch on Tobago updates. So thank you for viewing, and stay with us till then.
So wake up and hear me neighbor, 60,000 people strong, and the